Hey everyone, welcome back to the Carbon Journey game video. Hopefully by now you've had a chance to play the game for yourself, at least for 20 turns, so you get a chance to experience it. Because in this video, we're going to get a little bit deeper into the conversation and learn a little bit more about what the carbon cycle is. So I'm going to show you guys in this video. If you remember in the last one, I gave you one example of the fast loop. And then this one, I'm going to start you off with maybe a better example of the fast loop. And then we're going to work our way into the slow loop, which you may have experienced while you're playing for yourself. And so I am the game creator, so I'm allowed to cheat. And that's what I'm going to do. Um, so obviously, if we're going to do the fast, we're going to start in the atmosphere. And then instead of rolling the dice, I'm going to pretend that I rolled the dice. And let's say I rolled the number 2, and that allows for photosynthesis to take place. So something has pulled me out of the atmosphere and used me to produce its energy, and now I'm like a tree, or you know, what could be worse is that I would be like a really pretty plant that tastes really good. And so what that means then is in the next step, something on the land eats me. So through consumption, I become a part of a land animal. And then say I roll 3. Oh, you've been hunted down. So something higher up on the food chain has got a hold of me and also consumed me. And now I'm in land animals, but a different type, different land animal, different particular land animal. And so I'm going to end this with going to 5, or I'm going to type OK first. In fact, if you mess up and don't type OK like I almost just did, you're going to crash the game. I haven't fixed this problem yet. So make sure you type OK first, and then enter 5 or enter your dice roll on any time it asks you to type OK. So if you ever crash the game, that's probably been the reason. So here, respiration has moved me to the atmosphere once again. And so there's a really good example of what it would be like to be a part of the quick carbon cycle in that loop. This happens at a quick rate compared to the other things in the carbon cycle. And so now, let's go ahead and pause the game for a minute. I'm not going to enter any more data. I'm going to stop for now. We can come back to the atmosphere later and continue this game. So I'm going to refresh, and this time I'm going to just show you a good example of the slow carbon cycle. And so I'm going to start way down here in the marine sediments, okay? So I'm going to roll the dice, and again, I'm not recording anything, just demonstrating. I got a 6. So where does that take me? Well, underwater volcanoes move me into ocean water. Okay, great. Okay, let's roll the dice again. 2. What does that take me to? Oh, great. I'm back. I'm back in the atmosphere. So you know what? Uh, that was just a really quick route right out of the out of the long cycle back into the atmosphere. So I'm going to cheat again. Let's start the game over and go to slow. Of course, the odds aren't going to be in my favor while I'm recording this video, so I'm going to have to cheat. So I'm going to pick here. We're back in marine sediment. I'm going to just pick number 5. Great. Burial puts me in carbon-containing rock. Yeah, now I'm going to roll. Okay, I think I like the number 4. I'm going to try it. So yeah, sedimentation occurs, and so basically the rock remains a rock, right? It's still in a rock. It may be a different type of rock or different particular rock, but carbon's still in rock form. And so I'm going to type OK, and I'll roll again. And I got a 5 this time. Okay, what does the 5 give me? Another day passes, and you're still just part of a rock. Okay, lots of fun down there. Okay, so I'm going to type OK again. Going to roll it. I got a 6. Another day passes, and you're still just part of the rock. So you can see here, I've gone through many different numbers in this situation that have kept me down here in the earth, because statistically that's what's going to actually happen. Okay, let's see what else happens. Okay, I got a 1. Okay, here we go. Finally, we're getting out of that rock and we're gonna end up in the soil. And this is actually an interesting route because this is gonna take us somewhere else. So at this point, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna put us back in that slow cycle. Because what I'd like for you guys to see here is that we end up bouncing around between marine animals, ocean, and rock an awful lot. And that's actually what's favorable statistically with these dice rolls, believe it or not. So let's say I roll a 5, puts me in the rock, and of course you saw many turns earlier that I was in the rock, and so this time I'm gonna pick a 1. Oh no, that's what we got the last time. Just kidding. We're gonna not do a 1. We'll do a 5. And this time we'll do 2. Okay, there we go. Weathering and erosion more likely is going to put us in the ocean. Really, I think their dice block for this should give you more chances of going back in the ocean than into soil. Um, but anyways, now let's start randomly rolling. So I got a 3. It's going to take me down to marine mammals or ocean animals again. So I'm going to pick A. Absorption moves me to marine mammals. Roll again, I get a 1. What happens? Respiration moves me to the ocean water. So back and forth between the ocean and these animals, and also back into the rocks. This time I got a 2. And this one's gonna take me, we escaped. So we switched out of the long cycle, back up into the atmosphere. And so I'm just gonna pick up from the game here and just let the cookie crumble however it's going to this time. So got a 3. I get to choose. I'm gonna go to land animals. So respiration is gonna put me in land animal. Okay. Roll again. I get a 1. Oh, interesting. This time I'm gonna go through decomposition and sedimentation to become a fossil fuel. Okay, so that's a little bit different. We haven't been there yet. Got a roll. Got a 4. Burial puts me back. See, so we're in that ground. We're in the ground again, and we're back into this longer uh, cycle. It takes a lot longer for these processes to happen. And so I'm going to put lithification. I can't remember exactly what it said, but basically I was turned into a rock. Got a 2. Back in the ocean. Good. Now that I'm playing the game, I'm actually getting a pretty decent example of being stuck down here. See, I missed the process. So you want to make sure you don't miss too many processes. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it blank. Got a 5. Okay, photosynthesis is the process. And that's going to put me in ocean plants. They do photosynthesis too. Okay, got a 2. You became someone's lunch, so great. Already I know I was consumed. Um, choose A or B. Let's just choose B this time. We're going to go to ocean animals. Okay, and then roll again. Got a 2. Death and decomposition moves me back into those carbonate limestone rocks under the ocean. So now we're truly seeing the thing that I've been trying to show you all along, and I'm doing it by chance with the game. So weathering and erosion occurs, and I'm back in the ocean. Okay, roll again, getting a 4. Get to choose. I'm going to choose marine mammals with an A. And these things are all still below the surface of the earth and in this slower timescale flux pattern that's taking place. So, okay, so I need to stay focused, or I'm going to keep missing the processes. So now you're noticing, I'm going to go ahead and pause for a minute. You're noticing this slow loop, and we end up moving between the ocean itself, animal cells, shells in the marine environment, most likely also become a seafloor sediment at some point that becomes a carbon-containing rock and end up stuck there, maybe even for a few turns as a rock. And it takes a really long time for a lot of those processes to occur, unlike respiration on the surface, which happens daily. Okay, and so weathering and erosion occur fastest on the surface because rock is exposed to agents of weathering and erosion. So even though you were only stuck there for a turn or two in the game, it could be a lifetime in real life for carbon that's sequestered in deeper rocks in the earth, because erosion doesn't happen at a quick enough pace to actually really justifiably show this long-term pattern that I keep talking about. So how does one free themselves from either loop, being in the fast or the slow? Uh, and the answer here is you just got to get a lucky roll, which I was getting really lucky rolls there for a while. Uh, and so if you hit those critical points, though, in the cycle, you end up exchanging places. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate here. Uh, so I'm going to start the game over. And I'm just going to put us in the fast. So we start in the atmosphere, right? We clearly identified earlier that that's a reservoir that is very popular in that fast cycle. And so I'm just going to type, let's say I roll a 5. And that's going to take me directly to the ocean water. This is one interchange between the fast and the slow that's actually super important. And so what happens here is you're dissolved, and so the carbon dioxide actually uh, dissolves and it reacts and it becomes carbonic acid, which does make the ocean more acidic. Alternatively, you can get into the slower part of the cycle by being a land plant or land animal. So I'm going to start again. I'm going to hit the fast path. And let's say I roll 3, then we'll be a land animal. I'll pick A. And so if I type 1 here, it takes me directly to fossil fuels. Right? And we saw this earlier. This is actually how we got back into this is how we got into the long pattern that I was trying to show you to start with. And so both the land plant and the land animal take you to this route. With land plants, though, there's a little bit of an extra chance of this happening according to the dice blocks. So if I start again, start in the fast, and let's say I roll 1, takes me straight to land plants again through photosynthesis. This time I could roll 3 and then an A to become part of the soil. And so then I can press 6. It move me back to land plants, for example. Soils can get you right back to the plant because the plant pulls nutrients and things out of the soil to grow. And then I get a 4 and I get buried up as a plant and become a fossil fuel, right? So that's one way that you can get in there. And so soils play a really big part actually in linking the two loops because you have 2 chances to move into the atmosphere as microbial life in the soil actually uses it for respiration and puts carbon dioxide back up into the atmosphere. Or you can do what I just showed you and get into the land plant and down into fossil fuels, which links you back down to the lower cycle. So I'll show you the soil one really quick, getting you, oh, I did the wrong thing. I need to type fast. Okay, and then say I type 1 in the land plant, and so this time instead of going into fossil fuels, I go over to the soil instead of going back to land plants to go to fossil fuels. This time, let's say maybe I got a 1 and I'm going to go straight up to the atmosphere. And so soils is a link between there that's super important too. So back to fossil fuels for a second. I hit the wrong button. Sorry, I'm going to have to go to the soil first. I didn't want to do the long way back to fossil fuels, but that's what I'm doing. Let me get back to land plants. Hit the right number. So become a fossil fuel. Right. So fossil fuels is an interesting place to be in the game because according to the dice blocks and the model that this represents, we have a 50% chance of being discovered, mined, and combusted by humans through industry and to produce energy to release us from our hydrocarbon form into carbon dioxide, which puts us back up in the atmosphere. And so there's a 17% chance of being compacted into a rock and going into that lower cycle, a 33% chance of just being left here. And so half of your odds are staying down here in this long-term loop, or the other half is putting you back up into the atmosphere. And so theoretically, when the carbon cycle is in equilibrium, the fluxes in and out of each reservoir are in balance. So that means that carbon in any one reservoir, even though it's moving through these fluxes, stays basically the same in each reservoir over time. Okay, so however here, the issue that I'm going to bring up is that the combustion process puts carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And the increase in combustion resulting from the industry boom, or what we call the Industrial Revolution, starting back at that time, added more stored carbon from the geosphere, Earth's geosphere, in putting it into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide at a rate where the added carbon gets no choice but to be stored in other reservoirs, leaving the cycle unbalanced. And so remember how the fast loop led back to the atmosphere so quickly? And in addition, deforestation removed land plants from having the ability to use the CO2 and bringing it back into land plants. And so with land animals, respiration and things keep this pretty much constant. So we've increased the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. If we remove one of the other reservoirs, land plants, from holding carbon dioxide, we're basically giving the atmosphere a lot more carbon dioxide, so it's going to store a lot there. Or remember, it can go directly into the ocean, where it's mostly stored also in that long cycle. And so in the next video, I'm going to discuss carbon dioxide in the ocean in depth, so please check that out. And there's also going to be a second video that discusses carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. And so check out both videos following this activity, because both reservoirs are disrupted because of this, and equally important in understanding them and restoring the balance here to the carbon cycle. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.